What's up, you oddballs? Welcome back to the Oddity Shop throwback style. Kara, why are we doing some throwbacks?
So here's the thing. Everybody loves a good throwback. It makes you appreciate the current of where we're at, the current states, right? So everybody appreciates a throwback. However, we're doing a throwback just for our mental health to give us a nice little break. So oddballs, we hope that you understand, but we are taking off the month of January, and we have purposely never taken off because we feel guilty.
And we feel terrible about this, but
we do.
We have picked what we think are the 4 best of our older episodes for y'all to enjoy for each week of the month of January. Stay tuned, though. We are going to bring you a new bonus episode at the end of the month. And if you are on Patreon, we're going to have fresh things on there for you. But until then, enjoy this little throwback episode that's just about to get started after Kara says our magic words.
I love and appreciate you, and I hope you're not mad at us, but the most important thing you can do for me is to creep it real, you oddballs.
Goodbye.
Bye.
For now.
We'll see you in 4 weeks.
Whoop whoop.
Welcome to the Oddity Shop, where the bizarre is always on sale.
All right, everybody, welcome back to the Oddity Shop, or welcome to the Oddity Shop if you're new here, if you're old here, if you are being forced to listen to it by me or Kara because we have no other listeners. Welcome. We're here to tell you some creepy tales.
Sorry, Carlos.
Sorry, Carlos.
Woo!
All right, I am Zach, and I'm here with co-host Kara, and we have a tale for you today.
What is it?
The tale is Eastern Airlines Flight 401, which is a little bit of a sad story to start, but we get into a little bit of a creepy ghost action today.
I don't know about this.
I am going to set the scene for you. I want you to feel like you are part of the experience, all right? So you get on a plane. You're flying from New York to Miami. Everything is going great. You're coming in to land. And next thing you know, you wake up upside down, still strapped in your seat with your head underwater.
Are you kidding me? So I'm drowning. I wake up drowning?
After a plane crash, yes.
Okay, I know you're going to elaborate, but I need to understand. So I was just sleeping? What was I doing? I was just sitting on my plane seat, and then all of a sudden I wake up underwater?
It's about midnight. In fact, no, you weren't sleeping. This person was actually writing a letter to the airlines about how great the flight had been because it was a brand new aircraft.
Stop it right now.
All right, so we're going to get into it. I'm
just sitting there. I'm sitting there writing a thank you letter like, this has been a great experience. I'm so great and happy to get to Miami. And then I wake up upside down in water.
Pretty much. Ready to figure out how you got there?
No, but I know you're going to tell me anyway.
I'm going to tell you. All right, so the year is 1972, and this plane crash happens. It should never have happened, but what happens afterwards is where things get really, really weird.
Okay.
But in the late 60s, early 70s, Lockheed, who creates a bunch of aircrafts, they come out with a new airplane. It is called the L-1011-1 TriStar.
Okay.
It's a bulky name for a bulky plane. Like, this thing is humongous.
Is this the Titanic of planes?
It is, and it's also unsinkable. Okay, so this plane is super advanced for its time. It holds up to 400 passengers. There's 8 seats per row. So you've got 2 on each side, 4 in the middle. It also has 2 levels. Okay. In the lower level is a lounge, a kitchen, and it actually has 2 elevators that go up and down. But these elevators are like teeny tiny.
This is unnecessary.
It's all part of the plane. It's brand new. Top of the line.
Is this supposed to be like a luxury plane?
No, it's pretty much just a standard passenger flight.
So it's affordable to all?
Yeah. I mean, it's just standard flight. But they made very few of them because it was really, really expensive to build. That comes back later. December 29th, 1972, 8:30 p.m., the Eastern Airlines flight leaves New York heading to Miami. Of the 400 capacity, there's only 176 on board because New York actually had really bad weather right before this happened.
Oh, God.
13 of the 176 people are crew members. So, like I said at the beginning...
Wait, hold on. I'm sorry. There was bad weather in New York, so that's why all the passengers didn't get on?
Yeah, like a lot of people didn't even show up to the airport because the weather was bad getting there.
Okay.
Right, or like other flights coming into New York were canceled. This thing just wasn't at
when
full
was
capacity.
This?
1972, December 29th.
December, so it's probably snow. Okay.
Yep. So everything goes really smooth. Takeoff goes well. And like I said, one passenger even starts to write a letter to Eastern Airlines to applaud them for how comfortable and safe he felt on their new airplane.
Oh.
As the plane comes into land, though, things take a little bit of a deadly turn.
He jinxed everybody.
He jinxed everyone.
Oh.
But let's talk about the cockpit first. So the cockpit on this plane has 4 seats instead of the standard 2. On this night, December 29th, 1972, we have the captain, Bob Loft. Bob Loft is 55 years old, and he has clocked over 30,000 hours of flight experience.
I can't even comprehend that.
No, I mean, they say, 10,000 hours for mastery of something, and this guy is 3 times that at 55.
Is that what they say?
Yeah.
We're not going to be good at this for a while.
It's going to take us a minute, but thanks for coming along on the ride, guys. But Bob is known as being confident. He's known as being a perfectionist. Like, this guy knows what he's doing behind the controls of the plane. His co-pilot is Bert Stockstill. He's also really experienced, not anywhere near Bob Loft, but he knows what he's doing behind the controls. They also have on board Don Repo. Don Repo is a flight engineer, and he's known as being really soft-spoken and really approachable. And finally, the last guy in the cockpit has no business being in the cockpit other than the fact that he's an employee of Eastern Airlines and he needed to get to Miami. It's a new plane. They invited him up front.
Okay, so he's not actually doing anything.
No, he's just kind of along for the ride.
Okay, I have anxiety about this already.
So it's 11:32 p.m. Captain Bob begins the approach to Miami, and this is when Bert, the co-pilot, notices a little bit of an issue. So the plane has on its control panel 3 indicator lights for the landing gear. There's 1 piece of landing gear in the front of the plane, 2 pieces in the back, and there's a light for each one of them on the controls.
Can we just pause for a second and just comprehend pilots? I can't get it. I don't understand.
I know this is bad timing, right? But one of the dreams of mine has always been to get my private pilot's license. I think it's so cool because it's also so terrifying. Like, I still don't really understand how planes work.
No. To be oh god, any pilots out there? Holy
but
crap.
Disasters don't happen often, which is, I think, why there's such a big story when they do.
Well, that is true, but I'm just saying, in general, flying a dang plane is fascinating. So anyway, continue.
Okay, so we're back in the cockpit. We're looking at the 3 indicator lights, and the front indicator light is not coming on for the landing gear. Bob radios the flight control tower, and they tell him until they can confirm that the landing gear is down, they need to get out of the way of other incoming traffic, and he tells them just to do circles over the Everglades.
Oh, I don't like this.
So the pilots begin circling over the Everglades. They put the plane in autopilot while they work to resolve the issue. So autopilot should have kept them at 2,000 feet going at a single constant speed. They can come off the controls. They can figure out the issue. The crew, knowing that the plane was brand new and it had already been like completely checked out top to bottom, everything was fine with it, right? They kind of determined that it's not faulty gear, that it's a faulty indicator light causing the issue. So Bob and Bert and the other 2, Don Repo and the guy who shouldn't even be in there, right?
That poor guy.
They are trying to repair the light. So they are taking it out, they're plugging it back in, and then Bert takes it out and plugs it back in sideways, breaking not only the light, but the entire socket.
Oh.
Now they have no way.
Like they have no controls? Or just
the light. So they were trying to fix the light to get it to turn on.
But you technically can't land unless all 3 of those lights are working?
Right. You need to know if you have landing gear. But there's one other option.
Okay.
They realize that the only way to see if the landing gear down is to physically see it. So in the L10-11-1...
I really hate this all already.
There's a trap door in the cockpit.
Nope.
It's literally called the hellhole.
Yep, no.
So going down into this hellhole goes down to the lower level I was telling you about earlier. It's behind the lounge, but there's a tiny window that looks out to the front of the plane. So technically they should be able to see if the landing gear is down. Engineer Don Repo, he's the one who has to go down into the hellhole.
Oh, God.
It's a tiny little trapdoor. It goes into a tiny area. So Don gets up and he begins the descent down into the hellhole. We're going to go outside the plane now.
Oh, no.
So there's two gentlemen fishing in the Everglades late at night.
Oh, no.
It is completely pitch black, and
It's
only light they have.
11:30-ish?
It's going on.
Oh, it's
midnight.
later now. Okay.
Yep. It's actually about 11:40. So it's pitch black. The two guys are fishing. They only have their headlamps for light. One of them's looking out the boat to their left. One of them's looking to the right. The one to the right sees a huge bright orange flash, and moments later it's gone. So he's like, dude, we have to go see what that was. The other guy really doesn't believe him at first. So they are flying across the Everglades. They have one of those, the boats with the fan on the back of them, you know?
Oh my God.
I can't think of what they're called. What you see in like every alligator movie ever. So it takes them a couple minutes to get there. It's 5 miles down the Everglades. And they are completely shocked at what they find. These two fishermen come up upon the crash of Eastern Airlines Flight 401. All right, we're going to leave the fishermen for a minute. We're going to go back inside the plane. As Bob turned around to tell Don to go down into the hellhole, his knee hits the controls. It only takes a few pounds of pressure at this point to disengage an autopilot.
I can't with this story.
So the plane starts to go into a slow descent instead of staying at a constant altitude. But it was descending so slowly that not one person noticed. It just slightly cocked it down. Being over the Everglades, it's completely pitch black, so nobody knew that they were kind of coming up upon the ground. Except for Bob. Bob notices in the last couple seconds, he tries to pitch the plane up. It's too late, and at 11:42 p.m., the plane crashes into the ground. It explodes into a bright flash of orange light, but it's quickly extinguished because of the watery Everglades. So that's why the fisherman sees a bright flash that immediately goes away.
Okay, I hate this.
Back to the fishermen. They come up on the scene, and it's wreckage, bodies all over the place. Most people are dead. Some are alive and screaming. The fisherman described body parts everywhere.
Can you imagine you're just like out late night in the Everglades, just getting some fish, getting what fish are there? I don't freaking know. You're getting some fish. You're just chilling with your homie. And then that's what I was going to say row up on, but they kind of drove. And then that's the site that no. Mm-mm.
Yeah, they're shocked. They're able to save one person. This person was trapped in his chair upside down with his head underwater. Their flashlights hit him and they realize he's alive. So they get this guy back into their boat. This is the gentleman who was, of course, writing a letter to the airline about how safe he felt on the flight.
How many people were on this? 78 or something?
There was 176. Of the 176, 75 people were saved by the fishermen and the Coast Guard, but 101 people, including all 4 in the cockpit, lose their lives.
Okay, I thought I see what you mean. They found that guy first. They saved him first. I thought you meant they only saved one person.
Nope, they save him first.
Okay.
They take him. I don't know where the nearest land is, right? But they're able to get a hold of the Coast Guard, and then the rescue starts. So 75 of 176. So it's it's sad, and it's all due to what's insane to me is it's a really, really experienced pilot.
So
who knocks this?
Are they ever able to figure out what was wrong with that light?
No, because they broke the light. Remember when they were trying to fix it?
But do they actually really think that it was just a faulty light?
It was a faulty light because upon getting to the wreckage, all 3 pieces of landing gear were out.
Oh.
So after the crash,
really horrible.
It's horrible. It's just a sad story. I mean, this is a couple days after Christmas.
Oh my God. People
not
are
a
probably
great
still
situation.
traveling to their family for like the holiday.
Absolutely.
Oh.
So after the plane crash, the aircraft, as typically happens when there's crashes or accidents, it's retrieved and they start to put everything back together to figure out what happened, right? So that's when they're able to pull the black box and match when the plane started descending up with when Bob turns around. There's an alarm that happens when they're getting close to the ground, but it only goes off for 5 or 6 seconds. And these guys are so preoccupied with Don going down to the hellhole to see if they could have the landing gear, and the alarm is just, unfortunately, it's not very loud.
Ever wanted to spend the night ghost hunting in a haunted asylum? Eloise Asylum presents Paranormal Lockdown. On April 5th from 7 p.m. to 7 a.m., you can run the asylum. Discover history, haunts, and the secrets of the past, led by Metro Detroit's premier investigators. There's a limited number of tickets to this exclusive event, and it will sell out, so get your tickets today. Use the promo code HUNT and save $5 off each ticket. Paranormal Lockdown, April 5th at Eloise Asylum. Visit EloiseAsylum.com. Ever wanted to spend the night ghost hunting in a haunted asylum? Eloise Asylum presents Paranormal Lockdown. On April 5th from 7 p.m. to 7 a.m., you can run the asylum. Discover history, haunts, and the secrets of the past, led by Metro Detroit's premier investigators. There's a limited number of tickets to this exclusive event, and it will sell out, so get your tickets today. Use the promo code HUNT and save $5 off each ticket. Paranormal Lockdown, April 5th at Eloise Asylum. Visit EloiseAsylum.com.
I feel like, is there like a movie or a show
There is.
Did
yep,
this?
there is a movie.
But I don't know if I would have watched a movie about it. But this also, like, I'm visually seeing this really oddly, like, maybe I listened to some. Okay, continue.
As they retrieve the plane, because of the fact that there's 2 levels to it, a lot of pieces of the plane are actually in, like, perfect condition. Now, this was one of the first of this model. They were expensive and slow to build, so they decide to take the pieces they can salvage and install them into other planes that were being manufactured at the time.
Okay.
So they all go into other Eastern Airlines flights.
This doesn't sound good.
It's not great. This is where things get a little bit weird, because we might have some attachments to these parts. Flash forward, the vice president of Eastern Airlines boards a flight from New York and begins chatting with the gentleman that he thinks is the pilot of his flight. The whole time in his head, he's thinking, this guy looks familiar to me.
Right now.
No, I can't make this up. Okay, so he's saying, wow, this guy looks familiar. All of a sudden, he realizes he is chatting with Bob Loft. He goes to turn around to, like, talk to him again and be like, how? He's gone. This guy has just completely disappeared.
I'm shook.
On another flight, a woman is sitting next to a man dressed as a pilot. She at first thought he was sleeping, but then realized he's dazed, unresponsive, and has like a concerned look on his face. So she alerts the crew. The crew realize that this person sitting next to her is not on the passenger list. It's supposed to be an empty seat.
Wait, can they see him though? Or they're just going off of her?
Everyone is seeing him. So the crew goes to get the captain to come and confront the man who shouldn't be on their flight. As the captain walks up, dematerializes right in front of all these people's eyes. Before he dematerializes, the captain recognized Bob Loft.
Bob's just hanging out, man.
Bob's hanging out, but turns out Bob might be hanging out for a reason.
Okay, I was just going to say, is he like a warning? Like he pops around like Mothman when bad things are going to happen?
We'll find out.
Oh, God.
So, another Eastern Airlines flight, part of the crew is down in the galley. You know, I told you that's downstairs, right? So you have to take a one-person elevator down.
Which just seems so ignorant to me.
It's also kind of creepy. And you're in basically like an industrial kitchen.
No,
She goes to open the oven door, and as she opens the door, she sees the reflection of Bob Loft's face.
Oh, my God.
Turns around, not there. While she's down there, another crew member opens up upstairs the overhead compartment. Instead of seeing luggage, she sees Bob Loft's face looking at her.
in the little luggage compartment.
Right.
That's so odd. It's a really odd place, Bob.
It seems like almost like one of those like comical like horror movie scares, like those old B horror movies.
Well, I think the oven, that's creepy because that's like a reflection. But when you just like open the luggage compartment, that's really kind of odd.
There for a second dematerializes. So this is happening though on not one flight. This is multiple flights, all Eastern Airlines
that have the parts.
That all have the salvaged parts from the crash.
So this is like James Dean's car, Little Bastard. Oh
yeah, for sure. This is where though, like you said, you thought Bob was kind of a warning, right? So I have 2 specific flights to talk about with that.
Oh my God. Hold on. Can I ask you, is this still same year or when is this? Because they rebuilt everything. So how long do you know, like when?
It's like a couple years around.
Okay.
That, right. So once again, Eastern Airlines Flight. This one received a couple of stoves from the galley of Flight 401.
That sounds so horrifying.
This flight takes off from New York and is going to Miami.
Oh no.
Crew member goes down into the galley and they see an engineer fixing one of the stoves. Later on in the flight, she runs into the engineer again, and she goes, "Hey, I saw you in the stove, like it was working fine earlier. What's wrong with it?" And he goes, "I didn't touch the stove. I wasn't even downstairs.
I wasn't near the stove."
Or I guess there's no stairs, right? In the lower level. So she tells the story to peers, right? And later picks out a photo of Don Reaper as the man that she saw when they're, like, trying to figure out who she saw in the flight.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So...
Can I ask you, sorry, is there any talk about this? Like, do passengers realize at this point that these might be haunted, or does that ever not get to? I'm sure the crew now knows, like, people talk.
People talk, and it's a big rumor. We'll come to that in a little bit. So, once again, as they're seeing the ghost down in the stove, a flight attendant up in the upper level gets a glimpse of Bob again, and he says, "Watch out for fires."
Like the stove. What?
Yep. On this flight, so the return flight, the same plane has an engine failure. And the crew shut off the engine moments before it caught on fire. Oh, so Bob was, in fact, trying to warn them. Bob and Don are still trying to save lives, even from beyond the grave.
I have goosebumps for sure.
I've got another one for you then. If your hair isn't standing up already, this one gets me.
It is. Okay.
So another Eastern Airlines flight, crew is in the cockpit. They're discussing the plane's engineering before takeoff. And one of them pipes up and says, "Hey, I think you have a faulty electrical circuit." They turn to look at him, realizing there shouldn't be 4 people in here. There should only be 3.
Like, who just said that?
And it's our boy Don, the engineer, disappears again.
Oh, I do have goosebumps.
They bring an actual engineer in to check out the flight, and they do find an electrical issue. Same flight, while this is all going on, the ground crew are losing their minds because they see Bob Loft outside of the airplane doing the pre-flight check. The staff is so unnerved at this point that they straight up canceled the flight.
You're totally right. My hair is like completely standing up. That they canceled the flight.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God.
One last one for you if there's not enough.
I can't.
Pilot and co-pilot are sitting in the cockpit, same plane, same model, and they start to hear knocking on the trap door leading to the hellhole.
Oh my God. Was it 3 knocks?
They open it up. Don is there, staring up at them, instantly vanished. At this point, the stories are running rampant, so they're like, we need to check out this plane. They discovered an issue that could have caused a serious accident, and the plane could have created mass casualties. Now, unfortunately, the research I have didn't explain what the issue was. Bob and Don, man, they come back from beyond the grave to just stop other disasters from happening.
I don't even know. I have no words.
like you said earlier, the ghost stories are now traveling. It's running rampant.
Is it like haunted hotels where people are like, I want that haunted room, or they're like, I want the haunted flight?
I feel like it could have been, but like a haunted hotel room on the ground is one thing.
It's completely different. You can leave.
And these guys are kind of showing up around issues, right?
Oh,
like,
that is true.
So nobody really wants to be on this. The airline is getting a little bit of bad publicity around it. The other weird thing is like every plane has a logbook, right?
Yep.
In the books where they're describing the experiences, the logbooks are going completely missing.
Wait, that's weird.
Right?
But why would they go missing?
That I have no explanation.
I was thinking that you were going to say there was like extra things logged.
No, they just disappear. So the staff is told not to discuss their personal experiences or any of the stories they heard. Right now, the airline is like, we're shutting this down. All the salvaged parts from Flight 401 are removed from planes that are still in the air.
I'm actually surprised.
The hauntings immediately stop once they do that.
Do the issues?
In a way, yes. So because of the Flight 401 crash, there's actually a lot of new regulations that come out, making the autopilot system much harder to disengage. Added louder alarms that sound louder and longer.
Okay.
And they add different systems to let pilots know when they're going off course. So there's actually, even though it's super tragic, there's some good that comes out of this.
Okay, so, well, I'll let you finish.
That's really it.
Okay.
Honestly, that's where we finish it. The hauntings stop. They kind of squash the story, and Bob Loft and Don are free from working for eternity.
Okay, so obviously they were like trying to save lives and warn people of the issues that were going to continue to happen. So I'm wondering if then it was just like all these parts from that other plane were probably faulty parts to begin with. Like they should never have been used. Like they shouldn't have.
I think there's obviously some sort of large electrical issue, right?
Yeah, so...
But the airlines, of course, they're going to try to cover it up, and they try to say it's an urban legend, which these people aren't actually seeing the dead crew members.
Yeah.
But if that's the case, if it's just an urban legend, why does the airline go so far to remove those parts from other planes?
That's what I was going to say is actually kind of surprising because, I mean, obviously know how big corporate companies go, especially that. Like, they're not going to, like, I don't know. They're
not going to willingly lose money over what they don't believe to be true.
Right. But also, it's really creepy that a whole staff of an airline would just cancel. They're like, we're not doing this.
That's
like, very alarming.
If it was just like the one person in the lower part of the plane who saw his reflection in the stove, like that's less believable than 3 or 4 people trying to wake up this man who is
and passengers. It's not even like they probably didn't even ever hear about this.
Right. That was one of the first sightings.
Right. Ugh.
He's manifesting and being seen by multiple people and then also vanishing in front of their eyes. It's not like they're looking away and looking back and he's gone. He's just straight up dematerializing once they recognize him.
Horrifying.
And think about that. Like that lady sitting next to him.
No.
Okay. You're in a plane.
Nope.
You can't really move seats. So now she has to sit for the rest of the flight.
Listen, I'm sitting on somebody's lap. Figure it out. Who wants to volunteer? I'm sitting on your freaking lap.
You'd be going out the exit door. You'd be Kristen Wiig in Bridesmaids when she's freaking out saying she just saw somebody on the plane wing.
I don't really remember that movie because I thought it was really stupid. Anyway.
Our friendship just ended.
No, it didn't.
It absolutely did.
You haven't seen like any of my favorite movies.
That's because they're all terrible.
How would you know? Anyway. But what I was saying is it could just be like they're haunting this aircraft because of pieces of where they whatever. But it seems more like they're just warning it because these pieces are bad. Like they shouldn't have been put in this new plane. Because then you said it stopped.
Right, it stops. I think it's really cool though is that Bob and Don, both highly experienced individuals in life, right? They cause this accident, but in the afterlife, they're devoted to saving other people's lives.
Yeah, that is really...
I think there's something just really interesting about that. Like, they almost had an unfinished mission.
Yeah, because they didn't mean to cause 100 and something deaths. That's so terrible. I want to... I want to speak to this man that was writing that letter. Did you read any accounts of like what?
That's the only like survivor story I could find.
That's freaking wild.
And that's the story of Eastern Airlines Flight 401.
That's like so horrifying. I've never in my entire existence thought of a flight, like an airline flight, being haunted.
Well, good luck not thinking about that the next time you step on a flight. You might just see Bob Loft staring at you.
Oh God, I'm not gonna sleep tonight.
All right. Well, hey, thanks for listening. It was I really enjoyed that story. I think it was the perfect amount of creepiness.
Oh, it's definitely, but like a good creepy.
Right. It has a happy ending. They came back to help everyone.
Absolutely.
But let us know what you think. We'll have our socials linked down in the show notes. We'll also have the references if you want to learn a little bit more about Flight 401. But if you're still here, still listening, thanks for sticking around this long. And
we appreciate you.
We do. We truly appreciate you because we have no idea what we're doing, but we're doing it the best we can, damn it.
Creep it really a little, oddballs.
Talk to you next time.
Bye.
Oddity Shop.